My name's Ethan Calder. I'm 25, work in digital marketing in downtown Toronto, and I've been told I have a knack for noticing things people think go unnoticed. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the day I met her. This is the story I've never told anyone. I call it, I joked, if you were my age, I'd take you on an adventure, she smiled and said. So what are we waiting for? It started on a rainy Thursday morning, the kind that makes the streets shine like melted glass. I was late for work, juggling an umbrella, coffee, and the increasingly stubborn task of untangling my headphones. That's when I saw her. She was standing under the awning of a tiny bookstore I'd walked past 100 times but never noticed. Her hair was the kind that catches the city light in golden strands, and she wore a vintage trench coat that somehow made her seem like she belonged in another era entirely. I wanted to pass by, keep my head down, blend into the puddles. But something about the tilt of her head, the way she examined a window display, made me stop. Waiting for someone? I asked, more out of impulse than intent. She looked up, and I swear, the world briefly skipped. Her eyes, hazel but flecked with amber, held a mixture of amusement and mischief. Maybe, she said. Her smile was slow, teasing, like she had a secret I was about to discover. I laughed nervously. Fair enough. I'm Ethan. Clara, she said, and it felt like a name that belonged in a story, not shouted over honking cars and dripping rain. The awkward pause after our introductions could have ended there. Most days it would. But that morning, something unexplainable nudged me forward. I joked, if you were my age, I'd take you on an adventure, I said, the words tumbling out before I could second-guess them. She tilted her head, her smile widening. So what are we waiting for? And just like that, the rain seemed to dim. We spent hours wandering through narrow alleyways, stopping at hole-in-the-wall cafes, laughing at ridiculous things like pigeons fighting over a dropped croissant. By evening, when the sun finally broke through the clouds, the city felt different. It felt like ours. But life, as it tends to do, doesn't let magical mornings remain untouched. Clara worked at a publishing house, and I at a marketing firm, but our worlds collided in the most ordinary way, through her sister, Marianne, who happened to be my new client. Professional emails turned into lunch meetings into late-night texts. Our laughter became the punctuation in my otherwise monotonous routine. Then came the twist I hadn't seen coming. One evening, Clara invited me to a family dinner. Her mother was sharp-eyed, sharp-tongued, and, as it turned out, suspicious of me from the moment I entered. Her father, quieter but with eyes that seemed to weigh every word I spoke, offered only polite nods. Her younger brother, Caleb, gave me a grin that could slice through armor, and Marianne, the sister who brought our worlds together, kept stealing amused glances. Dinner was tense. Conversation bounced between harmless anecdotes and veiled barbs. Clara, though, never faltered. She laughed, argued gently with her mother, and occasionally let her fingers brush mine across the table. Those moments were dangerous. I could feel the tug, the pull that made the world shrink to just her smile and her hand against mine. Afterward, when the dishes were cleared, we stepped into the backyard, moonlight washing the garden in silver. Your family's intense, I said, trying to sound casual. They are, she admitted. They love hard. They fight harder. I nodded. I think I get it. My dad, he's complicated too. Makes me feel like I'm always under a microscope. She laughed softly, and the sound filled the night. Maybe that's why we notice each other. That's when Clara leaned in, and our foreheads touched briefly. Electricity or coincidence, I'll never know. All I knew was that in that instant, every warning, every doubt, evaporated. Weeks passed, and our relationship deepened, but not without friction. Work pressures collided, misunderstandings crept in, and Clara's family remained a maze I was never fully allowed to navigate. One rainy night, after a particularly grueling week at my office, I found her sitting in my apartment, a bottle of red wine open between us. "Talk to me," she said, eyes gleaming. I wanted to confess everything. The way her laugh broke down my walls, the way I feared losing her before I even had her. But I couldn't. Not fully. So I joked, "If you were my age, I'd take you on another adventure." She smirked. So, before I could answer, her phone rang. She hesitated, then answered. Her expression shifted subtly, the warmth in her eyes clouded with something else, fear, maybe, or dread. I didn't pry, but later I found out it was her mother. A family emergency, they said. Clara disappeared for the night, leaving behind only a note. I'll be back. Don't wait up. The suspense began to gnaw at me. Every text, every missed call, made my chest tighten. Days blurred into a week. And when she finally returned, there was a coldness I hadn't seen before, a guardedness that turned our playful adventures into cautious conversations. It wasn't resentment, exactly. More like a secret she carried and I couldn't reach. I tried, in my clumsy, human way, to break through. But each attempt met a wall I couldn't scale. One evening, I followed her to the bookstore where we first met. She was alone, browsing, lost in the pages as if seeking solace. I waited, watching her flip through a worn novel, tracing the title with her finger. Finally, she looked up. "You shouldn't have followed me," she whispered, half amused, half exasperated. "I had to know you were okay," I admitted. She studied me for a long moment, then, slowly, smiled. "I am. But some adventures," she said softly, "aren't meant to be shared." And in that moment, I realized that love, even the deepest kind, can be fragile. It can bend under pressure, warp under secrets, and yet still survive in quiet, unspoken ways. The days that followed were complicated. Clara came back, yes, but the warmth between us had a fragile veneer, as if any sudden word or glance could shatter it. I tried to reach her, tried to bridge the gap between us, but it was like chasing smoke, beautiful, intoxicating, but impossible to hold. One evening, I found her at the rooftop garden of her apartment building. The city stretched below us, neon lights reflecting in puddles from the earlier rain. She sat on the edge, knees pulled close, staring at nothing and everything all at once. "Hey," I said softly, coming close enough for her to notice without startling her. "Hey," she murmured, her voice fragile. I sat beside her. "You've been distant. I feel like I'm losing you." She shook her head slowly, and my chest tightened. "Ethan, it's not you. It's everything else." I didn't push. Some walls, I'd learned, could only be dismantled when the owner was ready. We sat there in silence, the city humming around us, until she spoke again. "There's something I've been keeping from you," she confessed. Her hands trembled as she pulled at the hem of her coat. "Something that could change everything." I swallowed hard. Part of me knew the confession might hurt, might even drive us apart. But the other part, foolish, stubborn, hopelessly in love, wanted to hear it. I was engaged," she said finally. The words fell between us like shards of glass. "Not now? Not anymore. But before I met you." My mind raced. Part of me wanted to retreat, shield myself from pain, from heartbreak, but I couldn't. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, voice barely steady. "I was afraid," she admitted, tears brimming. "Afraid you'd think less of me. Afraid it would ruin us before it even started." I reached for her hand. She hesitated, then let me hold it. "Clara, we can face it. Together." Her smile was tentative, fragile, but it reached her eyes this time. "Together," she whispered. For the next few weeks, we navigated this revelation, balancing love and caution. But life, as always, demanded its toll. Her mother remained cautious, protective, and I had to prove myself, not just to her family, but to the invisible weight of Clara's past. Work added its own tension, deadlines, difficult clients, office politics. And then there was me, constantly battling my own insecurities, my fear of losing the one person who made the world feel alive. One rainy night, everything came to a head. Clara's father called me to their house, his voice low and grave. "Ethan, you love my daughter. But love isn't enough. You need to be patient. She's complicated. Her past, her fears, they're not your enemies. They're part of her. If you truly care, you'll respect that." I nodded, though my heart raced. It felt like the final exam I'd been preparing for my entire life. When I walked back into the garden where Clara waited, I saw the vulnerability in her posture. She looked smaller somehow, worn by the weight of her own secrets and the world's expectations. I took both her hands. "Clara, listen to me. I don't care about the past, or the mistakes, or the doubts. All I care about is you. And if that's enough for you, then I'm not going anywhere." Tears spilled down her cheeks, and she laughed softly through them. "You're ridiculous," she said, but her fingers tightened around mine. "I love you, Ethan, even if I don't always show it." We stood there, rain soaking through our clothes, hearts pounding in perfect sync. That night, the city didn't feel like a backdrop. It felt like a witness to something real, fragile, and eternal. The following months were not without struggle. There were arguments, misunderstandings, moments when life threatened to pull us apart. But every challenge became a thread weaving us closer. We learned to speak the language of patience, to listen with empathy, to forgive before resentment could take root. And then, one quiet evening, months later, Clara turned to me while we watched the sunset from our favorite rooftop. "Ethan, I was scared," she said softly. "Scared of losing myself, scared of losing you. But now I know we're stronger than fear." I pulled her close. "We always have been. We just needed to realize it." As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson, I realized something fundamental. Love isn't always about grand gestures or endless passion. Sometimes, it's the quiet moments, the steady presence, the courage to face life's messiness together. This story, the one I've never told anyone, isn't just about us. It's about patience, about holding on even when the future seems uncertain, about the beauty of imperfection. Life throws shadows, secrets, and storms our way. But if you find someone who makes your soul feel seen, who stands with you in silence and in chaos, that's the adventure worth taking. And so, whenever I think of Clara, of the rainy morning where everything began, I remember her smile, the way she whispered, "So what are we waiting for?" And I realize the answer wasn't a place, a time, or even an action. The answer was simply love. Love is the adventure. And some adventures, once begun, never truly end.